In the realm of human interaction, there exists a force so subtle yet so potent that it governs not only our actions but also the desires of those around us. This force, often misunderstood, is indifference. To be indifferent does not mean to be cold or detached from the world, but to rise above it, free from the weight of needing validation, approval, or affection. True power lies in the ability to remain unshaken no matter the winds of circumstance. When you embrace indifference, you no longer chase. You become the force that draws others toward you, especially in matters of attraction. Women in their very nature are drawn to strength, not the desperate grasping of a man seeking to fill the void within. By mastering indifference, you master your own inner peace, and in that peace you become irresistible. This is not about manipulation, but about finding your truest self. An individual who is complete, whole, and unaffected by external validation. In this state, others will not be able to resist the magnetic pull of your calm, centered presence. The power of indifference, understanding its true essence. To truly grasp the power of indifference, one must first rid themselves of the common misconceptions that shroud its meaning. Indifference is not apathy, nor is it the absence of care. It is not a state of neglect or disengagement from the world. On the contrary, it is the highest form of emotional mastery, the pinnacle of self-control. It is the ability to choose, with complete clarity, how to react to life's challenges, how to respond to external stimuli, and most crucially, how to maintain an unwavering sense of inner peace despite the chaos of the world around you. The essence of indifference lies in recognizing that there are two worlds, the external world, which is constantly in flux, and the internal world, which is where your true power resides. The external world is unpredictable. People change, circumstances shift, and desires can be fleeting. The internal world, however, is where your true strength comes from. It is within your control. The external world cannot dictate your state of mind unless you allow it to. The moment you let the opinions of others, the judgments of society, or the actions of others affect your inner peace, you forfeit your power. Indifference is the deliberate choice to not be swayed by the whims of external forces. When you adopt this mindset, you no longer find yourself scrambling for approval, struggling to fit into a mold, or chasing fleeting affections. Instead, you become a sovereign ruler of your emotions, a calm center in a storm. This does not mean you are detached or aloof from the world. It means you are in complete control of how you engage with it. You choose what affects you and what does not. Imagine for a moment the power that comes with being indifferent to the external world. When you no longer seek validation or affirmation from others, you open yourself to a life of authenticity. You cease to chase, and in doing so, you become the person others want to chase. This is not a game of manipulation or tactics. It is the simple reality of embodying your true self, free from the need for external validation. Consider the greatest Stoic philosophers, Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, and Seneca. They understood that nothing outside of ourselves has the power to disturb our peace unless we allow it to. They taught that external events are indifferent to us. It is only our judgments of those events that disturb our tranquility. When we remove ourselves from the need to control or change others, we unlock a sense of freedom that is unparalleled. We move through the world not as beggars for attention or affection, but as sovereign individuals who attract respect simply by being who we are. Indifference, in this sense, is a profound strength. It allows you to detach yourself from the need to constantly seek approval or validation. It frees you from the chains of expectation, and in turn, it makes you magnetic. Women, like all people, are drawn to strength. They are not drawn to those who desperately seek their attention or validation. Instead, they gravitate toward those who stand firm, who are secure in themselves, who do not rely on others to define their worth. This is the true essence of indifference, an indifference that empowers you to live life on your terms. You become the embodiment of strength, and from that strength others are drawn to you, not because you have forced them, but because your presence speaks louder than words, louder than neediness, louder than desperation. In the quiet strength of your indifference, others will come to seek you out, to desire your company, to yearn for your attention. This is the power of indifference, and it is within your grasp. Mastering emotional control. Why indifference is your greatest ally. To understand why indifference is such a powerful force, you must first master the art of emotional control. The Stoics believed that the ultimate goal of life was not to avoid emotions, but to rise above them, to harness them in a way that they no longer control us. Emotions in their raw form are neither good nor bad. They simply are. They are a natural part of the human experience, like the winds of the world, sometimes gentle and sometimes fierce. But just as the winds cannot sway a mountain, neither should emotions have the power to sway your mind if you have mastered control over them. The world will throw countless challenges your way. People will provoke you, circumstances will test you, and desires will stir within you. Yet, if you allow your emotions to control your actions, you become a slave to the ever-changing tides of life. To be truly free is to have the ability to choose your response, to stand firm in the face of whatever storms may come. Indifference, in this sense, is not the denial of emotion, but the mastery of it. It is the choice to remain calm, composed and unwavering, no matter what life presents you. Consider the great Stoic philosophers, Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca. These men faced challenges that would break the average person: war, betrayal, exile, and the harsh realities of life. Yet, they maintained a steady course, unshaken by the winds of fate. They did not ignore their emotions, but instead they understood that emotions are fleeting. They understood that we are not our emotions. We are the ones who decide how to react to them. To achieve emotional control, you must first accept that emotions are inevitable. They will arise in response to events, people, and experiences. What matters, however, is not the emotion itself, but how you respond to it. The power lies in the space between stimulus and reaction. This is where indifference comes into play. It is the ability to recognize that an emotional reaction is just a momentary surge, one that need not dictate your actions. Take, for example, the pursuit of attraction. When you desire someone's attention, it is easy to become consumed by the emotions that arise: excitement, nervousness, and the longing for validation. These emotions can cloud your judgment, pushing you to act in ways that are not true to yourself. You might find yourself overcompensating, chasing after her approval, and ultimately losing sight of your own value. But when you are indifferent to the outcome, when you no longer tie your self-worth to her reaction, you stand tall in your own value. You do not need her approval to know your worth. In this state of indifference, your emotions no longer dictate your actions. You do not act out of desperation, but rather you act out of a place of inner strength. You are not moved by the winds of uncertainty, but rather you remain a steady force in the world. The irony of this indifference is that it makes you infinitely more attractive. Women, like all people, are drawn to those who are in control of their emotions, those who are not swayed by external validation, and those who stand strong regardless of the situation. This is not about manipulating others. It is about becoming the person you were always meant to be, someone who is completely indifferent to the opinions of others, yet who naturally draws others in through sheer strength of character. Mastering emotional control through indifference allows you to walk through the world with calmness and certainty. You are no longer driven by the highs and lows of fleeting emotions, but rather you maintain a steady, composed presence that commands respect. In doing so, you become the embodiment of confidence, the very thing that makes you irresistible. Indifference is not a shield to hide behind. It is a strength that radiates outward, drawing others toward you. When you master this power, you unlock a new level of influence, one that comes not from force, but from your ability to remain unshaken in the face of anything life throws your way. The illusion of neediness, breaking free from its chains. Neediness is a subtle but destructive force, one that lurks within every human being, waiting for the right moment to strike. It begins as a whisper, a small doubt, a fleeting desire for reassurance. Over time, if left unchecked, this whisper grows into a roar that dominates your every action. Neediness is the belief that your happiness, your worth, or your validation depends on someone else, often leading to a cycle of desperate seeking and emotional instability. The Stoics understood that the key to true freedom lies in the rejection of this very illusion. The illusion that we need anyone or anything to complete us. Neediness, in its essence, arises from a lack of self-sufficiency. When we rely on external sources, be it people, circumstances, or material wealth, to fill our inner void, we place our happiness in the hands of things that are beyond our control. This is where we fall into the trap of chasing after fleeting affections or approval, always hoping for something outside of ourselves to make us whole. Yet, the more we chase, the further it seems to slip away. This cycle is one of desperation, and it is driven by the false belief that our worth is determined by the affection or attention of others. Indifference, however, offers a different path. It teaches us that true self-sufficiency lies in the understanding that we are whole in and of ourselves. We do not need the validation of others to know our worth. We do not need external approval to feel complete. The moment you accept this truth, the chains of neediness break. You free yourself from the constant pursuit of external validation and the anxiety that comes with it. You no longer chase after affection because you no longer seek to fill an empty space within you. Imagine for a moment that you are in a relationship or pursuing someone you desire. If you are needy, your every action will be motivated by the desire to please, to gain approval, or to seek validation. You will constantly second-guess yourself, overanalyze every interaction, and sacrifice your own desires for the sake of the other person. This neediness creates a power imbalance where the other person becomes the source of your happiness, and you become dependent on their affection. This is not love, nor is it attraction. It is a transaction based on the fear of rejection and the hunger for external approval. When you embrace indifference, you shift the dynamic. You no longer need anyone to feel complete. You no longer seek validation or approval because you have already validated yourself. You know your worth, and you do not need anyone else to confirm it. You approach relationships, both romantic and platonic, from a place of strength, not desperation. Your actions are no longer driven by the fear of losing affection, but by the genuine desire to connect with others in a healthy and balanced way. The irony of this is that when you break free from neediness, others are drawn to you more powerfully. Neediness repels because it creates a sense of imbalance. When someone is needy, they cling to others for emotional support, often creating pressure and expectation. This pressure is suffocating, and it pushes people away. On the other hand, indifference, when rooted in self-sufficiency, creates a calm, magnetic energy. It signals that you are complete on your own, and that anyone who chooses to be with you must do so out of genuine desire, not out of obligation or fear of loneliness. The Stoic perspective on neediness is clear. To need nothing is to be truly free. The moment you let go of the belief that you need anything, whether it's validation, affection, or success, you become the master of your own life. You are not a slave to anyone's opinion, nor do you seek to fulfill a void within yourself. You are whole, and from this place of inner strength, you approach the world with confidence, calmness, and clarity. You no longer chase. Instead, you become the person who attracts, who others seek to be around, not because you need them, but because you are already enough. The Stoic mindset: how indifference cultivates self-sufficiency. The Stoic mindset is rooted in the understanding that the only true control we have in this life is over our own thoughts, actions, and responses. Everything external, be it people's opinions, life circumstances, or fleeting emotions, is outside of our control. When we accept this truth, we free ourselves from the burden of needing to control or manipulate the external world to satisfy our desires. This is where indifference comes into play. It is the deliberate decision to focus on what is within our control and to remain unmoved by what lies beyond it. In doing so, we cultivate self-sufficiency, which is the foundation of true inner peace and strength. Indifference is not a denial of the world around us, but rather an understanding that we are not defined by it. We do not need external validation, material possessions, or the affection of others to feel complete. We have within us all the resources we need to live a full and meaningful life. The Stoic teaches us that by turning inward and embracing our own power, we cultivate a deep sense of self-sufficiency that cannot be shaken by the turbulence of external circumstances. The most profound aspect of this mindset is the realization that we do not need anything outside of ourselves to be happy. Happiness is not something that is dependent on what others give us, but something we create from within. It is found in our ability to be content with who we are, with what we have, and with the life we are living in this moment. When you adopt this mindset, you no longer find yourself chasing after the approval or affection of others, because you no longer feel the need to prove anything. You are already whole, already enough. This self-sufficiency, cultivated through indifference, is the ultimate form of freedom. You are no longer a prisoner to the shifting sands of external circumstances. You do not need someone else's love, attention, or validation to feel good about yourself. Your worth is not determined by the opinions of others, but by your own understanding of who you are. You become impervious to the forces of the outside world, and in doing so, you unlock a profound strength within yourself. When you embody this Stoic mindset, you begin to see the world through a different lens. Rather than viewing life as something you must control or manipulate to achieve your desires, you begin to see it as a series of opportunities for growth. Every moment becomes a chance to practice emotional discipline, to strengthen your character, and to deepen your sense of inner peace. You stop chasing after things that are beyond your control, and instead, You focus your energy on what truly matters, cultivating your own character, aligning with your values, and living with purpose. In relationships, this mindset allows you to move beyond the need for approval or validation. You no longer find yourself desperate for affection, but instead, you approach others from a place of abundance. You are not seeking to fill a void within you, but rather you are simply sharing your life and your presence with others. This self-sufficiency makes you more attractive, not because you are forcing anyone to admire you, but because your calm confidence and inner peace draw others toward you naturally. By embracing the Stoic mindset, you step into a life of autonomy, where your happiness is not contingent upon others, but comes from your own ability to remain at peace no matter what life throws your way. The true power of indifference lies in this self-sufficiency, the ability to stand firm in the face of any storm, to be unshaken by the opinions or actions of others, and to find contentment in the knowledge that you have everything you need within you. When you reach this state, you are no longer dependent on the world to make you happy, because you are already whole. And from this place of inner strength, others will naturally be drawn to you, not because you seek their attention, but because you radiate the powerful, unshakable calm of someone who is truly self-sufficient. Harnessing the energy of detachment, the path to true confidence. To understand the profound impact of detachment, one must first grasp the core of what it truly means. Detachment is not about disengaging from life, abandoning relationships, or turning a blind eye to the world around us. It is about choosing not to be enslaved by the desires, expectations, and emotional entanglements that often arise in our interactions with others. Detachment is the ability to remain calm, composed, and resolute in the face of external forces, understanding that your emotional well-being is not subject to the whims of others or the fleeting circumstances of life. At its heart, detachment is a form of emotional freedom. It is the conscious decision to not allow external situations or people to define your sense of self-worth. This freedom is what gives rise to true confidence. When you are detached, you are not chasing approval or scrambling to meet the expectations of others. You know who you are, and your sense of value is not dependent on the shifting opinions of the world. You act from a place of inner strength, knowing that your happiness, your worth, and your peace are found within, not in the approval or attention of others. Detachment empowers you to stop seeking external validation. It is the recognition that you are complete as you are, and you do not need anyone else to define you. In relationships, this means you are no longer desperate for affection or affirmation. You act not out of need, but out of genuine desire, choosing to give rather than to get. This shift in mindset transforms the way you engage with others. When you no longer cling to the need for approval or love, you move through the world with a sense of ease and self-assurance. When you detach from the outcome of a situation, you are no longer emotionally invested in whether or not you get what you want. This detachment does not mean you no longer care. It simply means that you are not ruled by your desires. You are no longer subject to the stress, anxiety, or frustration that often arises when things don't go as planned. Instead, you learn to approach life with a sense of equanimity, accepting both the highs and lows with grace, knowing that your emotional state is not dependent on the world around you. The true power of detachment lies in its ability to create genuine confidence. When you are detached, you no longer rely on external circumstances to feel good about yourself. You are already content, already confident, and already secure. This inner stability is what makes you magnetic, Confidence is not about bragging or seeking attention. It is about being grounded in your own truth, unshaken by the opinions of others, and unwavering in your own sense of self-worth. People are drawn to this confidence because it radiates strength, clarity, and calm. This detachment does not mean that you are cold or indifferent toward others. On the contrary, it allows you to love and connect more deeply because you are no longer motivated by selfish desires or the need to control. You are free to give freely, to engage authentically, and to share your presence without the burden of expectation. You act from a place of abundance, not scarcity, knowing that you have everything within you to be happy, to be fulfilled, and to be at peace. When you practice detachment, you break free from the shackles of neediness and insecurity. You no longer need others to fulfill you because you have already fulfilled yourself. This energy of detachment is what makes you truly confident, because it is the confidence that comes from knowing you are enough, from knowing that you are whole regardless of the circumstances. And when you operate from this place of true inner peace, you naturally attract the people and experiences that align with your authentic self. Not because you are desperate for them, but because you are radiating the powerful energy of someone who is complete.